Are we okay? We got the fucking... We've got to do the fucking shit that we for fucking drug abuse. No! Are you listening?
Sean here, and I know this isn't the video I promised yesterday. I did it last night. It didn't come across the way I wanted it to, so I just deleted it. And I'll do it again, but this time I'll make sure I get it right. Something came up last night in Cornville three-way stream. Well, it didn't really come up. It was kind of touched on briefly, but it was something I wanted to discuss in another video because it is important. Props to him and Eel Rearg for not being drama farmers. They kept the chat very closely moderated. So the rest of us who just wanted to get on with our lives and enjoy the Lorneography community didn't go to the sideshow, freak show circus, the drama, drama, farmers, drama. Yeah, that was bad. But I do want to say I greatly appreciated it. So what do I want to talk about? I think Lorne is telling the truth when he says he does a lot for society, at least in his view. Because from his point of view, he does. I know, I paused for effect. In Lorne's head, society is what his world is. Who does he have in his life and what does he do? Well, he has Roy. He has his mom. I'm talking about this time during the Debbie period. He had Tony and Winnie. He had a catfish women and the people he talked to when he went out to the store, if he did, and maybe a couple guys at the trucking business, whatever it was called. That's it. His probation and parole officer. His therapist. I don't think he understands that there is life outside of his little Cornville, Maine trailer. Even when he drove truck, he was on the highway. I'm sure he went through a big city every once in a while. Probably didn't even stop and smell the roses. He was too busy singing or trying to call his catfish women or talking to his catfish women. I don't think Lorne has the capability to open his eyes and see what else is going on around him. We talked about isolation and how dangerous it was, and how dangerous it was for him specifically. Driving truck was the ideal job for him because he didn't want to deal with a boss. He didn't want to deal with anything. So he was his own boss. He was God in that truck, in that little cockpit of his. Oh man, I could just make 1,000 jokes. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Because he has nobody in his life, and he says he helps out Aunt Sharon and his mom, he's got so much to lose. And Debbie asks him, what do you have to lose? I give water to the homeless shelter, and we know the story now. It was on a truck. He drove it over there, and somebody unloaded it. I don't even think he bought it. And then Cornville last night joked that he gave like $2 at a checkout or cash register when he was checking out. I doubt it. There's no way. He probably tried to take the $2. Well, you know that needs to go to me. St. Jude's. All of these little things he remembers, and we talked about that too, like the two people standing outside when he was singing karaoke. That'll stay with him forever. He can't let those memories go. So when he's analyzing himself and he's talking about society, his society is that little bitty circle in Cornville. If we had a life like camera recorder, I would love to go back and watch all of the times he supposedly helped those women in his life. Aunt Sharon, and he helps out Tony, and he helps out his mom. I would love to see that, because we know he's lying. And how do we know he's lying? This is a guy that gets so angry and distracted when Debbie texted Angelo to bring her a cup of coffee, and because Lorne hated him because he had a penis and he had one ball. Man, if he had no balls, he'd still be pissed off. The only way this would work is if he had a vagina. But he didn't. And because of that, Lorne helped his mom and saw her barely, probably, Lorne said an hour, so we know it's less than an hour. He went over there, stewing, looking at his phone, and finally just blew up. I got to get out of here. Mom, I have to go back to my house. Because he couldn't take it, he couldn't handle it. So we know he doesn't care about his mom. He doesn't want to help her. He just wants her money. And if she was telling the truth at his hearings, his parole, probation hearings, any of that bullshit where he's trying to bring his mom into it and she's reading a letter that he wrote. If she told the truth, there would be no chance the judge would ever show any leniency. Had he known the way Lorne was, had he heard all of the phone calls, Lorne wouldn't have gotten 6 months. It would have been at least a year. And I guarantee you they would have watched him even more closely than they already do. Although he told Jamie, you can watch me very close. How do you watch somebody very close over the phone, Lorne? How do you watch them from hundreds, thousands of miles away? How do you do that? A lot of those predators said the same thing on the show. You can watch me very closely. I'll check in with you guys. Or anyway, that was a sidetrack. But again, Lorne, you couldn't even help your mother because you got frustrated. Do you think that's the first time he got frustrated? No. When he was helping Tony, he's lazy, so he's going to use that as an excuse. I can't imagine being with my mom and looking at my phone so much and getting angry on Mother's Day when I'm supposed to be there with her. My daughter, as I mentioned, wasn't with me on Father's Day. Now, any other dad would have probably blown up. But she was out with her friends, and they had like this dinner party where they were all dressed up the night before, and the next day they had some kind of event. I don't know. It was a lot of her volleyball friends. I don't screw with volleyball. I want her to be happy. So I could have gotten angry. I could have gotten upset. And I was initially frustrated, but that went away quickly because I loved my daughter. And here's the point. Had Lorne loved his mother, had he really cared about her, he wouldn't have cared about some catfish woman, especially one, I think, that was in the hospital at the time, dealing with a concussion, potential brain damage, barely able to speak. Add that to the situation, and now you get the full picture. Well, not only that he's a psycho, but that he doesn't care about anybody in his life except for him. Now we're going to talk about a real person. Think of a judge, highly educated. He's seen a lot of people come through his courtroom. Different types of people. People in suits, people in ripped t-shirts with oil stains on them. A lot of different people. And in comes Lorne. And he's telling him, oh, young, he's crying, and he's trying to manipulate the judge. He cries whenever he gets in trouble. I mentioned that. When he loses a privilege, when his mom grounded him when he was little. Imagine the crying then. So much so, as Ramona said, as I've said in the past, and I've said that Ramona said it, so much though that his mom was probably like, Jesus Christ, okay, Lorne, you're not grounded anymore, go outside and play. Okay, Mom. I don't want to, Mom. Can I stand beside you and hold your skirt? Can I look up your skirt because I'm a dirty perv? That is part of Lorne's problem. But he gets in front of this judge thinking, okay, this is what I did to my mom. And the judge doesn't buy it because he's looking at him and thinking, you, sir, man, you are one pathetic loser. Let's reference the one movie I know Lorne saw, Dumb and Dumber. But you're a highly educated person. And here comes Lorne. And you can analyze him, spot him a mile away. And you're thinking to yourself, what do I do with this asshole? And he starts telling you, I got so much to lose. Aunt Sharon, my mom, I helped my mom around the house. His mom says, look, I have to drive to go take care of his dogs. That's what she said. It was an inconvenience to his mom. And guess what? Lorne, because everything's an inconvenience to him, what he used for his mother was that it was an inconvenience for her because he was in jail. Think about that for a second. You're a judge, and one of the main reasons you're giving that he doesn't need to be in jail is because it's an inconvenience to his mom. Now, as a dad, as he probably was, and if it was a female, forgive me, but I was pretty sure it was a male. But as a dad, you would be thinking to yourself, why are you using your mother as an excuse? I would never use my mother as an excuse. First off, I wouldn't bring her to court and have her read a bunch of bullshit that you obviously wrote. His poor mom, reading all of that and thinking, go to jail, please, Lorne. Please go to jail. I can't deal with you anymore. I know that's what she was thinking. And I know that judge was just thinking to himself, how could you drag your mom in? How could you use the fact that it would inconvenience her as an excuse? But he did. And that shows you that all Lorne knows are excuses that deal with laziness and inconveniences. So I'm glad the judge locked him up. And I wish he would have been in there longer. As far as I know, he hasn't had a drink. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that he was on the phone with a catfish woman. Without the catfish woman on the phone, Lorne has a lot of idle time. I wonder if there's a catfish saga out there. I like the Jamie Amy robot calls. I think they did a lot of good. But at the same time, I mentioned that there's no human emotion on the other end. And as much as I hate Winnie's voice, I understood what Winnie was bringing out of Lorne. And so when we got to the part where he got arrested again, after singing to Debbie and going psycho to her and lying, we understood why he was doing what he did. We understood where he was coming from. And when he got to the Jamie Amy robot calls and she started spitting logic and facts, we got a better insight into how his brain works. See, his therapist in those calls told him, Lorne, if you're getting angry, you need to take yourself out of that situation. You need to remove yourself from that situation, and you need to just let it go and find another outlet. But we know he can't do that. And these catfish women, they're a part of his problem. If the judge knew he was still getting catfished and getting scammed, he would assign him someone, anybody, because I know they have special people that can help special needs people. And Lorne has special needs, and I've wondered if he was borderline special needs for some time. His IQ is obviously not that high, and a lot of people who are stupid tell you how smart they are. That's getting off track, kind of. But I am making a point, because all of that stuff I just said, if you use that as a reference, if you use that as a starting point, then you can understand why nothing outside of his little circle is real. And that the society he talks about helping is that little inner circle of people. Now Tony's gone. You think he's going to talk to Winnie? No, but I do think he's thought about it. If he hasn't gone over there already and said, I want to come over here and hang out with you, I think he realizes he's running out of options and running out of time. So the chance, Lorne is a predator, and he would sense that weakness in her. He would sense the fact that she was broken, she's dealing with the loss, and she's vulnerable, like a lot of people do. They sense that loss. Some people even go to a funeral home because they want to try to hook up with the widow. I do believe Lorne has thought about it. I do believe that no matter how hideous he says she is, that's not the truth, because he said that about Debbie, and he said that about Jamie Amy, anybody he's ever said, oh, she's gross, he's tried to hook up with. I love you, Casey. Love you, Jamie. So the point I'm making is, Lorne's society is very small. Wendy is a part of that society, or she was, and I think Lorne would try to go over there. I think he would try to talk to her, if he hasn't already. And I do feel sad for her, and I do feel scared for her, because if Lorne was to focus his attention on her, we know what would happen. He should never be allowed around a woman, ever, and these catfish women are heroes, and these men that are doing it as well. So anyone who says otherwise, you can, you know what. But that's my video for today. I love you guys. I promise the big one is coming out that I promised, that I just said promise again. I love you guys. I will see you in the next one.